Our city, our future. We're building it together in Modesto. This is Momentum, connecting neighbors across every street and with every story in our community.
Every day, hundreds of friends, neighbors, and individuals in our Modesto community experience homelessness. The growing number of people experiencing this social issue has prompted the City of Modesto to create the Camp to Home initiative. It is a self-sufficiency pathway for people trying to rebuild their lives out of homelessness. The Community and Economic Development Department of Modesto leads the implementation of services, programs, and partnerships that break the cycle of homelessness. Today, we are going to hear from key staff in the Community and Economic Development Department to talk about the city's efforts in addressing homelessness in our community. I'm Sonia Severo, the Public Relations and Legislative Affairs Manager for the City of Modesto. And here with me today is Edgar Garcia, the Community Development Manager, and Meggan Clifford, the Senior Community Development Specialist for Modesto. You are listening to Momentum, the City of Modesto original podcast. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Very excited to be here today and dig in. This is something we're both really passionate about and a topic that is hot in our community.
Fantastic. So let's get down to basics for City of Modesto. Some of the work in addressing homelessness kind of stems from a Camp to Home program. Edgar, can you kind of talk about what that is?
Absolutely. Yeah. The Camp to Home initiative is an initiative that we embarked on in 2020. It's a 5-prong initiative focused on the way that we provide services to our community experiencing homelessness. It includes outreach and how we boots on the ground deliver services out in the community to our folks experiencing homelessness, and how we're able to refer them to shelter and with our shelter partners, including Modesto Gospel Mission, Salvation Army, and others, how we're able to provide robust job training to them. We have key partners in our community that have been able to be successfully provide job training in our community for folks who are seeking to improve their lives and in an effort to exit homelessness, as well as offer permanent employment opportunities. We've been able to successfully establish partnerships with local employers to help establish an employment pipeline for folks who are vulnerable in our community and have previously experienced homelessness, as well as with permanent housing opportunities. In addition to the work that we do in getting folks job training, we also really focus on getting them housing ready. And we have excellent relationships through our nonprofit partners with landlords in the community who can make housing opportunities available to our community. So this 5-prong initiative has been extremely successful for our community, and we hope to deliver on that success.
So you talk about the collaboration and the community partnerships, and previously the Downtown Streets team was one of those partners for the City of Modesto. Meggan, can you kind of talk a little bit about what the program was and how it impacted Modesto?
Downtown Streets team was a nonprofit within City of Modesto supporting the Camp to Home initiative. So it served as the robust job training component and had been in the City of Modesto since 2019 and really worked with individuals experiencing homelessness to identify unique solutions to resolve their homelessness. So it was really not we understood that it wasn't a one-size-fits-all approach to resolving homelessness. And so Downtown Streets team took an approach to find individualized solutions to the people that they were serving. And so I think City of Modesto really wanted to work with Downtown Streets team in addressing homelessness and finding ways to best support this unique population in our community. There really was a need for finding solutions, and Downtown Streets team did just that.
The participants in the yellow Downtown Streets team t-shirts kind of became seeds for renewal and growth in our community. Do you have any memorable moments with the participants that really kind of stick in your mind or shine a bright light on the service that was being given to them and the service they were providing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think just last week there was a HopeWorks post, and I hope that some of you had the opportunity to see this. And there was a comment by someone who was like, I was a member with Downtown Streets team, and I was on the wait list for 17 weeks, and now me and my husband, we've been housed for 7 years, and I work in social services, and just like seeing, I
That's
know,
so
woof.
awesome.
Yeah.
That tugs at your heartstrings, right? Because
Yeah,
that's the
absolutely.
main goal and objective.
And that's why we do what we
Very
do.
emotional to talk about the impact that programs like this have on our community. In October of 2025, after 6 years of service, the Downtown Streets team announced they would cease operations by October 31st, 2025. In the wake of their closure, there was a call to action in our community to save this valuable program. The closure could have left a gap in critical services for individuals experiencing homelessness and beautification efforts in our community. Instead, it sparked a citywide movement of collaboration, innovation, and a renewed hope to support those who would be most impacted. Within just 6 weeks, the community development team had multiple discussions with community partners in Modesto and Stanislaus County, reviewing partnership models and funding opportunities. So this all happened fairly quickly, because within just 6 weeks, your team had a plan.
Yeah, and I have to credit the incredible work of our team and being able to stand this up in such a short amount of time. But I also have to credit the incredible work of our partners that you'll also be speaking to as part of this interview. Jason with the Modesto Gospel Mission, as well as Keristofer with the United Way. Those were the two critical partners that stood up and said, "What can I do to help?" And that is, I think, the definition of community, because the individuals that were, I mean, of course, this is a community impact, but also an impact to the individuals that were currently going through the program. So, how do we ensure that we're able to continue providing services to these individuals who've built up so much hope, right, with their time with that Downtown Streets team, and also have left a lasting impact in our community and just the removal of blight. So, navigating that problem with these incredible partners was a neat and quick experience. It was easy to do because everyone was so invested in finding a solution.
That's fantastic. Did the Downtown Streets team find even a little bit of comfort knowing how quickly the city was moving to maintain those services that they were providing?
Oh, absolutely. That's always the concern, was the gap that would leave for the clients that we serve. And so knowing that there was a solution in place was provided such hope to the DSD.
What were some of the reactions?
Absolutely. There was a lot of shock, uncertainty. There's, you know, trust building is such a key part of being a service provider. And so that's so fragile. And so, we weren't quite sure what the next steps were going to be as HopeWorks was getting off the ground. And so that was every intention as soon as HopeWorks was established, that we were able to make a phone call to every person that was a current participant with Downtown Streets team and say, hey, you've got a spot with HopeWorks. And that was so critical to the continuation of HopeWorks and the intention of our council members to really say that we want to see a continuation and next steps for Downtown Streets team, and we really want to allow the folks that are engaging in services to continue the trajectory that they've already established. And so that's what HopeWorks has been able to do.
So the City of Modesto City Council, they put a lot of effort into addressing homelessness, and they make it a priority in our community. What were their reactions when this plan was rolled out to them and taken to them at a city council meeting for approval?
Yeah, thanks. Excellent question, Sonia. That our city council is incredibly supportive of the work that we do and incredibly supportive of the solutions that we've put forward to help address homelessness. They overwhelmingly said yes to the program, and we were super excited to really launch that partnership to really dig deep with United Way and the Modesto Gospel Mission to create the HopeWorks program.
So HopeWorks is the new initiative. What do we have to look forward to? It looks a little bit differently. From my understanding, the participants no longer receive stipends, but they're actually paid. How is that different?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is like a transition from Downtown Streets Team. It's not a mirrored program. We really look at it as phase 2. It's the next stage. And with that comes an opportunity for us to get creative and find a way to best support the participants of the program. And with that, it was considering getting folks employment ready. And so while the number of spots on the team remains the same at 68, they're all paid for their time in doing the litter abatement in the community. While Downtown Streets Team was volunteer-led, this is now entirely transitional employment. And so everybody participating on the team gets paid for those hours out in the community.
So they're no longer in the yellow t-shirt.
No, they're not.
What's their new color?
Meggan, teal,
Renewed
turquoise,
color.
Yeah,
blue.
They are wearing a blue vest now. Yes.
How has the collaboration and partnership with Modesto Gospel Mission and the United Way really strengthened the foundation of the city's efforts for this work through Camp to Home?
So United Way and the Modesto Gospel Mission are incredible partners, and so solution oriented. And as I mentioned, when this problem came about, quickly stepped up and said, what can we do to find a solution? And that is so important. As we continue to grow the program, as we continue to learn how this program really rolls out, because we're still about 6 weeks into the program since they've started cleaning up our community. We're going to continue to find additional ways where we can improve and find additional ways to grow, and we're going to continue to keep at it.
So keeping the momentum moving for the city of Modesto and their efforts to address homelessness, what are some things we can look forward to in 2026 and 27?
So some of the things that we'll continue to work toward is continue to, as mentioned, identify options for partners and funding solutions for our year 2 of our HopeWorks program and beyond. In addition, we're going to be continuing to explore options for affordable housing to continue to support folks who are experiencing homelessness with permanent supportive housing. In addition, we're going to continue to flush out what employment pipelines can look like. We had it really dialed in with the Downtown Streets team, right? We had 6 years to do that. So we had built some incredible success in partnership with the Downtown Streets team, thanks to all of Meggan's work and the work of our community and really establishing that foundation. We need to establish that foundation with HopeWorks to remind folks who may have seen the headline in the Best OB regarding the closure of Downtown Streets team that we found a program to replace it, and they can call us back for a landlord, or if they're a landlord, a housing opportunity, and if they're an employer, they can contact them for a possible employment opportunity from folks that are experiencing homelessness to be able to help identify soft landings for these folks that are on the team.
That's great. So Hope is working in Modesto.
You're on a roll, Sonia.
As we address the efforts, as we talk about the efforts that the city is doing in collaboration with its community partners and local partners to address homelessness. Any additional information that you think is important for our community to know?
No additional thoughts. I just would like to say Hope is working.
Great. Well, thank you very much both for being here today. We really appreciate you. Approved unanimously by the Modesto City Council on October 14th, 2025, the Community Development Team had successfully founded a new initiative that continues the support of unhoused individuals in downtown Modesto through engagement, employment readiness, and community improvement. Like its predecessor, HopeWorks will support individuals as they rebuild their lives out of homelessness, with contributing towards the beautification of our community. In this new partnership, United Way and Modesto Gospel Mission are preparing to step into this new role with the support of the city and the Modesto community behind them. And now I'd like to welcome Jason Conway from the Modesto Gospel Mission and Keristofer Seryani from the United Way of Stanislaus County. Thank you both for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah.
Thank you. It's great to be here with you.
Yes, awesome. So, Jason, can you tell us a little bit about the Modesto Gospel Mission and how your organization serves our community?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't realize what the Gospel Mission does. I mean, we're on the corner of Yosemite and La Loma, and people drive by it all the time. But mainly we have a campus, and that campus is direct services to our community around homeless and housing. And that looks so much different than it did maybe 5, 10, 15 years ago. But the biggest thing is that we are an emergency shelter. We provide close to 180 men's emergency shelter, another 100 plus for women emergency shelter, and altogether under our roof every night is close to 450 men, women, and kids. That's emergency shelter. Then you add all the different other things like HopeWorks and all these day programs. And basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to get people, steward them back into the community and get them back out there just doing what they need to do. And that's just being part of community and feeling hope. So it looks like a lot of different things that the Gospel Mission does.
And Keristofer, the United Way has been a strong community partner for many organizations over the past years. Kind of give us a lowdown on what those partnerships.
Sure. So United Way is a big name. There's over 1,200 United Ways around the globe, but each United Way operates independently. So we're our own 501c3, and we really work on programs that are fit for our community. So at United Way of Stanislaus County, we really are about connecting the dots. How do we listen to our partners, we listen to the community, and then we look at the data and say, where are we best able to serve the community? We focus on 3 areas of education, health, and financial stability. And we try not to duplicate efforts that are already being done. So we try to amplify and strengthen partnerships and connect the dots between the various sectors in the public, private, and the nonprofit.
Were you both tracking the relationship with the City of Modesto and Downtown Streets team over the last 6 years?
Yes, I can say I was highly engaged, really from the beginning stages of the Downtown Streets team entering into the community. I think it was 2018. They presented in the Continuum of Care at that point. So I was introduced to what that program is, and then watching for the last 6 to 7 years them not only function in our city, but also the testimonies that rolled out from that program. So I was very much aware of the Downtown Streets team and the impact that it was having in our community.
Were you offering services to some of those participants?
Yes, we had some individuals. We actually had them come in, the Downtown Streets team staff come in and share that to our day program and try to get people introduced into that program too. So it worked both ways. We welcomed the Downtown Streets team staff to pitch their program to our individuals, but we also had individuals sheltering with us that also was a part of the Downtown Streets team.
So for us, we were very much engaged with Downtown Streets team. We were following them because it was the city, us, the county, and Stanislaus Community Foundation that brought Downtown Streets team to this community.
So you get this call from city staff. What do they say to you? How does this happen?
Yeah, so I get a call. I get a call from Edgar, and he's like, you know how I had told you that we would be calling you for other opportunities in our community? Well, I have this one. And then he kind of introduces the current state of the downtown streets, where it was currently at, the information that he had, and that would there be a willingness to look into possibly overseeing the program. So that's kind of how that initial conversation began.
We talked earlier with Edgar and Meggan about some of the already successful stories coming out of HopeWorks. I mean, literally the beginning of January, right? HopeWorks team kind of hit the streets and started working on blight abatement efforts and beautification efforts in our city. But we've had some success stories. I know at the recent ribbon cutting ceremony, you actually had a participant, Dimitri, kind of give his story. And I think just the comment about him getting a paycheck and having to open up a bank account, how does that, I mean, does it give you guys gratitude? Like, that's what you're in it for? Like, this is why we came to the table.
Yeah, I mean, I think to go on what Keristofer said, what the workforce development reentry program, we people don't realize in community, even all of us, is sometimes they need a first step. And that's what HopeWorks is first steps. Like Demetrius, for example, it was a first step. And he stepped in, and what it does is build self-confidence. Like, I can do this. And we're able to hold his hand. So, and then one of the testimonies that he did, he found me walking through our campus, And he was just elated, big old smile. He got his first bank account. He's like, I can't believe this, and so excited. And I think once they get that momentum and they start feeling that self-confidence, it really compels them to take that second step. And that's what we're there for, is HopeWorks is first step, second step. And there's another community partner too with his like Express Employment and BBSI. They had to be a part of this equation for it to work too. So, and what the good part about that is these individuals then can be onboarded to other opportunities through these temp agencies. And it really gives them another opportunity to get out there. But one of the things we heard is they just need to know what that first step is. And HopeWorks is that first step. And we're hitting testimonies, and people are starting to realize that I can do this, and I can walk out there, and I can start beginning to claim my life back for me.
And it's a real paycheck. They're going to open a bank account. They're going to receive a paycheck.
Yeah.
Whereas, in Downtown Streets team, there was a lot of good work, and it was a volunteer-based model. Right. So if someone didn't show up or didn't participate, they might be thrown out of the program. But in this case, they're learning how to build stability, and there's someone's relying on you to show up, and you're getting paid for that work, and you're paid every week, and then you're being taught case management on what to do with that funding, and then eventually get into housing. And so it's the first step to many on a pathway to recovery, and it requires someone to be ready. But if they're ready, then we are giving them the opportunity and a second chance to see that success story. And the fact, kudos to Jason's team, Greg, and Brandy and Frankie for having in between the contract signing in November 1st and being able to have the first trash pickup route in January. Yeah. There was a lot of back office work that was done to do that in such a short period of time, especially with the Christmas holidays, that they were able to, in January have pick up over 4,000 pounds of trash. And for individuals involved, that's a huge, we did that. That's a self-ownership and pride and dignity in the work that they're doing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And that was actually my next question is, how did we prepare for this launch? Because there was that gap, and granted we had Thanksgiving and we had the holidays, but in the backside, you guys weren't resting. You were putting together a plan.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Because once we got from the initial conception of here's what we can to city approval on city council, it was on at that point. And then
speed.
Really. and then January was launched. So that was we had 3 or 4 months. So what Keristofer said was Greg, Frankie, the staff that we had to assemble, and they kind of owned it was the point. So that was critical too, is having the infrastructure of human capital to help move this and get structure around it. Yeah, because it's more than just the component of going out to the community and spearheading that. There's also being able to wrap around case management around these individuals. And that's if they have a bad day, or if they need to know what do I do and how do I do this? How do I get this? How do I do a checking account? We're able, through our case managers, help get them to that next step too. So it took a team effort, and it really was. And it was quite impressive to watch my team and our team together in our community, because there was a community member that came along and seeded startup cost money. And that was Brad, who really wanted to be able to make sure that before all the different components of city council and billing, and that's a whole nother component, that we had the money to launch. And it was really that money that allowed us an opportunity to really get the pavement running and make sure that we had the donations that we needed to move forward. And I think that was an impressive and a great opportunity for us to be successful too.
What about for you, Keristofer, on the back end? What kind of work needed to happen to make this successful?
So for us, it was just to get the board on board with the risk assessment of it, but also the dashboards and the implementation strategies, and how do we make sure that when the invoices come, we have the right tracking mechanism and the right reporting, and so that we could ensure that once the startup funds were depleted, that there's the rest of the funds are flowing regularly for Jason and the team to continue doing that work. So there was a lot of, I think we were on calls almost every day during the holidays until we were up and running.
So for our community, addressing homelessness is one of the most important things that our residents ask for from the City of Modesto, from Stanislaus County. What does this mean for the community?
I think this is what the community is calling for. and everybody has a different theology about what and how to treat homelessness. And this is one component is here we have a class of individuals that are unhoused that simply need direction. And here we have a program to align them, which is a workforce development component. And I think it not only does it couple with helping people, it couples with helping our community too. So when you're out there in the community, you're going to see people in blue vests, and they're making this place
blue, not yellow.
Yeah.
We talked about that earlier.
And
today.
they're making our community better, and you're going to see them really throughout Modesto. So it's a win-win for the community. It's a win-win for these individuals, and it's a win-win for our city.
Yeah, I agree. I think the community, there's a lot of misperception about what the unhoused population looks like or what they're going through. And I think once we put a human face to those people and the stories behind them and what the struggles are, is that there's no two identical pathways. And so each person has had their journey of how they became unhoused and what their motivations are, what their demons are, and how to combat them and to get on a pathway to success. And as soon as we recognize that and we come up with solutions that are in partnership and collaboration, because I think even from the beginning, this was never seen as a transactional activity or a contractual where the city has an obligation, they find a partner, they pass on that obligation to that partner, and then they deliver. This was a shared responsibility. All of us came in recognizing the need for this community to receive services and to receive a second chance. And we looked at it as how do we approach it and like help them get that second chance.
So as the HopeWorks team moves forward, we really want to cement what they're doing into our community's infrastructure. And Christopher, you talked earlier about the sustainability of the program. What are some ways that our community can support the HopeWorks team moving forward?
I can think of many ways, but it would be amiss of me if I didn't mention funding. But I think we have a link for individuals who would like to donate to the cause that can do that with you, sitting with United Way. So giving money, if you have it, would be great. But more importantly is raise their stories. I think there's a lot of community misconception around what this population goes through. And when you see them on the street cleaning up, honk for them, give them that encouragement that they need. Talk about it, of how successful this program can be when partners come together with a shared mission. And also, these individuals are going to need employment afterwards. So in 6 months or 4 months, when they're ready and they've proven themselves, we need organizations and employers to come forward and give these people second chances and to allow them the opportunity to put their careers back on track.
So, Jason, HopeWorks launched a website to talk about some of the success stories of the participants. What is that website?
It's hopeworksmodesto.org.
And what is the goal of this website?
The goal is for information, basically, is to share testimonies coming out, but what's going on with the program. So that goal is to be able to spotlight testimonies, but also a page for people need more information. They can find more information about HopeWorks too.
So is the HopeWorks team only going to be doing blight abatement efforts for the city, or are you guys going to be contracting with other businesses? Or
I think the sky's the limit. I think there's opportunities to do all those things. If you're a homeowners association, we can do that. I mean, if you're a business partnership, we can do that. I think there's a lot of opportunities to that. We're looking at some graffiti abatement through the Go Modesto app to be able to translate and do that. So I think we're looking at this as, we're not in a box here. We're looking at this. How can this program make Modesto and make our community better? So we're looking at all these opportunities. So if anybody has suggestions too, I'd love to hear some of that too.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you both here. Do you have any last words or little success stories that you just want to kind of talk about?
I will. I'm just impressed with our community, honestly. I think when the Downtown Streets team, when it was ending, we seen the heartbeat of our community. And I received several calls. And it just showed me that our community really does care. And they really do want an opportunity for people to get better. And I think that translates to the services that our Modesto has. So I'm just really impressed with our city and their ability to figuring out how do we keep this thing going. Because like Christopher said, this wasn't just the Modesto Gospel Mission or United Way. This was like the community having to rally around, which they did, and try to figure out ways and vocalize that to say, we want this program to stay, and we want to be able to see these individuals be able to have a support system coming out of it. And so there was a lot of communication around the individuals that are currently a part of the Downtown Streets team is trying to give them support too. So I just seen the heart of the community. It was really cool.
I mean, for me, this is a scalable program. So it's HopeWorks. And once we get, all the, or not all the challenges that may be coming up as you're scaling up a program resolved, I'd like to see this go beyond City of Modesto and across the county. I think it can be a real tool in getting our broader unhoused population into a pathway towards stability.
Yeah.
So I think
So are you envisioning
I'm-
HopeWorks
HopeWorks
teams and
Oakdale,
different-
HopeWorks series, HopeWorks.
make it. I mean, whatever you're
mean,
thinking, go
yeah,
bigger.
Let's go. Let's get bigger.
Yeah,
right?
because it really does go back to helping the people, and that's super cool. So yeah, this thing can have the sky's the limit.
And that's what's most important. Thank you. Again, thank you both for being here today. We really appreciate it. We're so lucky to have you both as strong foundational community partners for the City of Modesto, for the residents and the businesses and the visitors. And we couldn't be happier to have you sitting at this table with us today. So thank you.
Yep.
As the United Way and the Modesto Gospel Mission began working together to continue to break the cycle of homelessness, they will continue to provide invaluable resources for those participating in the program, cementing themselves as a crucial part of the city's future.
This is Momentum.
Great. So we just finished talking to Jason Conway from the Modesto Gospel Mission and Keristofer Seryani from the United Way of Stanislaus County to really help us kind of round out the community impact for this new initiative, HopeWorks. I would like to welcome Mayor Sue Zwahlen.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here today. So we've been talking about the Downtown Streets team, the City of Modesto's Camp to Home initiative, and the new initiative, HopeWorks. Can you kind of give us an idea of the Downtown Streets team and what that program meant to the City of Modesto?
Downtown Streets teams really meant everything to us. We embraced the people that were participating and their lives and their stories and the great impact that it had on them. I remember one day when I was first elected driving down 10th Street and I saw a team working and pulled over and had a conversation with the team leader. And she expressed to me how difficult her life had been recently. And she'd had, I think, 2 deaths in the family and had been diagnosed with cancer and was just really struggling, and how she didn't know if she would even survive. She feared for her own life, and how the Downtown Streets team completely brought resiliency back to her life. It gave her hope, and she felt like it saved her life.
Wow, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So what did it mean when you got the news that the Downtown Streets team would be closing its doors to service?
I was immediately determined to make sure that we continued on in the City of Modesto with an initiative that would provide hope for people that were really struggling. So I was so appreciative that others also immediately responded in the same way, and we recognized that it was really important to continue on.
So we heard from Edgar, Community Development Manager for the City of Modesto, on how quickly his team went into action under the guidance of our city manager and Jessica Hill, the Department Director for Community and Economic Development Department. It happened fairly quickly. It was about 6 weeks from the time that the closure was announced to when an agenda item was taken to City Council for discussion. Can you comment on that timeline? That's pretty fast.
It really is. And I think that it speaks to the commitment of the employees and staff here in City Hall being dedicated to the people that are the most vulnerable in our community. And I've been so impressed with that. And I'm just so proud of the fact that the original contract ended, and the very next day we were prepared and ready to go with a new initiative and a new completely, fully impactful program to the people that it will benefit the most. I was so proud of that.
That's great. Are you happy with the structure of the new initiative? We've heard earlier how it kind of looks a little bit differently, more of a focus on workforce development. They actually are paid employees as opposed to volunteers. How do you think that's going to impact the community?
I'm really excited about that. And I think that what it really shows is that we're determined to help people with whatever they need, whether it's documents, birth certificates, driver's licenses, job resources, healthcare support, whatever it is. We're here to help do that. And I think that's what's so beautiful about the program is it meets the unique needs of each individual and what they need the most in their lives to be successful and to actually thrive in our community. That's the hope.
So the City of Modesto over the last year, 2025 and beginning of 2026, has actually completed a lot of supportive projects to support individuals rebuilding their lives out of homelessness. We're talking about like the support of Dignity Village, Jenny's Place, Grace Gardens. What does HopeWorks mean for the city's work in addressing homelessness, and how is it going to carry us forward?
Well, I think the name says it all, that hope truly works. And if people work and have a desire to improve their lives, it can change for every individual, regardless of how difficult their challenges may seem. I'm just so impressed that this has not ever been an issue in Modesto. There's not been any pushback that I've seen in any way from anyone in City Hall, from our city council members, to help the most vulnerable in our community in any way that we can and to meet their individual needs. And I always said, being an emergency room nurse, it's one by one to help people. We cannot say we're going to get rid of homelessness. We're going to make it in all at once and come in with some magic wand. It just doesn't work that way. It's human lives, and they have individual needs and individual situations, individual diagnoses, whether it's severe mental illness, substance use disorder for some people, job loss, whatever it is. That's how those problems and issues get tackled. And that's what this program does. It's very uniquely designed to do that, and we're here for it.
Thank you, Mary. Is there anything else that you think you want to express or say to us about homelessness and the efforts that the city is doing to address it?
Well, we are doing everything that we can to meet the needs of everyone in our community. And the most vulnerable are certainly just as important as everyone else. And we hope to continue with that. And we're grateful for everyone else that supports us in it, and are looking forward to a brighter future where everyone can be safe and have a fulfilling life and truly thrive.
Well, Mayor, thank you again. It's been a pleasure having you as part of our City of Modesto podcast today. In our community, HopeWorks marks a new chapter in the city's path in addressing homelessness. Programs such as this not only contribute to making a positive difference in people's lives, but also stays true to our strategic priorities of enhancing the quality of life for all residents. This is our city, our future. Thank you for listening today.